Okay, How to Train Your Dragon 2 is... Oh, I don't even have words. It is probably one of my new favorite films. Oh my god. This builds on the original and just elevates it so high. Man, this is like the Dark Knight of animated sequels. Or the Dark Knight of How to Train Your Dragon. That's how good this film is. Or The Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, this film is that good. The story's set 5 years later, and it sort of looks at Hiccup's. Burke has basically changed over. Dragons are more accepted, everyone basically has one, everyone's kind of happy. For the most part. One of the elements in the film is sort of this stoic Hiccup's father. He wants he wants Hiccup to eventually become chief one day. That's better. No more wobble. He wants him to become chief one day, but Hiccup's sort of divided as to what he wants to do, what his father wants to do, and sort of what society wants him to do, and what his girlfriend Astrid wants to do. And I like that. I like seeing that dynamic of, his father wants him to take responsibility. He's not sort of forcing him on it. Well, he kind of is. Going back to the whole... Now, the first film was a lot about the relation between Hiccup and Toothless, but also it was a father-son film. This film is very much like a family film, but not in the sense of the family film, oh, that's the demographic or whatever. No. There's a very good sense of family throughout this film. One of the big plot points in this film, and you've probably seen it from the trailers, is Hiccup's mother, who's played by Cate Blanchett. Which that adds into another element of the film, estrangement, which, well, when we first meet Hiccup's mom, it's sort of revealed that, she disappeared 20 years ago. She was a bit like Hiccup in that she didn't hate dragons, and that she kind of just wanted to... She was kind of like Hiccup, she just couldn't kill a dragon. Anyway, she gets kidnapped by a dragon, but you learn how Hiccup got that little scar on his face from a dragon. And what else is there? Oh, sorry, I'm just awestruck, really. There's so much that works about this film. It is... A lot of the trailers don't actually show much. I mean, you see, in some of the trailers, you see a lot of big battles and stuff. A lot of that is in the first half of the film, actually. Which I thought was... When, I thought, it's just the end of the film, oh, no, there's still, 40 minutes left. There's still a lot more to go. And this is a dark film. There is a lot of, heavy shit that happens, and it's surprising, really. A lot of the stuff that happens in this. Stuff I never expected, stuff that... It doesn't feel out of left field. It feels almost natural. It adds to the story. It adds to the development of it all. So, the story. 5 years later, everyone in Berk is happy. They made peace with the dragons. Everyone has a dragon. And to some extent, their dragon that everyone has, well, the main characters at least, sort of represents them as well. I mean, Stoic has a dragon, Skullcrusher, a very powerful dragon. Gulliver has a dragon who's sort of lazy, he's good for a punch, but he's kind of lazy. And yeah. So Hiccup is sort of stuck in the middle between doing what his father wants him to do, also what society kind of needs him to do, and what he wants to do. He just wants to be free. He just wants to just spend the day with Toothless. His father, wants him to become, wants him to become chief. He wants him to settle down with Astrid, have a family. And that's done well. The only complaint with that is that I kind of wanted to see that a little more. You get the sense of it, and, how much it means, but I would have liked to have seen that a little more. Yeah, the only real criticism I have with this film is that, one, I kind of wanted to see that a little more, okay, two, and there is a little subplot in here that I think could have been taken out entirely, because, to an extent, it doesn't really go much anywhere, but it gives me a laugh. It's silly, but it gives me a laugh. So, yeah. But yeah, this is a. Oh man, I don't know. One thing that this film does certainly do is that it is not a retread of the first film. It's very much another story. It's very much a continuation of that story. And it sits on its own, in a way. It's kind of like, I think Joss Whedon was saying, the Godfather Part 2. In a sense, that film can sit on its own. You don't necessarily have to watch The Godfather. You can watch The Godfather Part 2 and still enjoy it for everything it presents. This film is kind of like that. In that you don't necessarily have to watch the first film because, well, it tells you what kind of happened in the first film. Vikings made peace with dragons, and everyone's happy. Anyways, the main baddie, well actually there's two baddies. One name is Eret, who's played by Kit Harington, who is hunky, and another one named Drago, who's played by... Okay, I do not know how to pronounce this guy's name. Let me just see here. DJ Man Hewson. Yeah, okay. You probably know him from, he's in Guardians of the Galaxy. He's the one that's like, who? He's a good actor, actually. He was in Blood Diamond and a few other films I really like. Oh, and Gladiator. Amistad in America. Ooh, this guy's actually in a lot of good films. Anyways. So he's this dragon trapper type person. Eret, Kit Harington, sort of traps dragons for him. Hiccup and Astrid sort of get caught in the middle of this. And along the way, and basically Hiccup's plan is that I'm going to try and make peace with Drago. Now, right off the bat, I'm thinking like, that's a crazy plan. But the film acknowledges that it is, in fact, a crazy plan, where everyone's just like, you're crazy. Another good thing is that we explore a lot more of the world of, how much of this world, a lot of the people in it, a lot of its history. They build up Drago as actually this really unique, they give him a pretty good backstory, and the sort of Stoics relation to him, like, many, many years ago. And they give a good backstory to Hiccup's mother. Yeah, basically she was befriended by the dragons, and basically became one of them, in a sense. Like, well, not like a dragon. she doesn't act like a dragon, but she got to know them better. She knows all their little secrets and tricks. There's so much to talk about that. I'm definitely going to do a spoiler review. But, yeah, this does everything a sequel should. It elevates the film, does just a wonderful job of telling its story. The characters are really good, and, man, there are so many moments where I was like, oh, it's like something out of a Pixar film, which, yeah, Pixar, take notes. This is how you do a sequel. And... How to Train Your Dragon became this just surprising hit that, man, I don't know, I mean, yeah, as it stands, I do like this film more than the first one. How much more? I don't know. I'm definitely going to watch this again. This was a great film. But now I've watched all the films I want to watch this summer, basically. So yeah, as it stands, this is getting a nice 10 out of 10. This is a fantastic film, fantastic sequel, full of a lot of twists, a lot of turns. It feels like The Dark Knight in the How to Train Your Dragon world, or whatever. The cast is good, the new cast members are good. Cate Blanchett I thought was a weird choice at first, because she doesn't have a very, like, pretty voice, we'll call it. She has a very deep voice. But then... We're introduced to, is it Vala or Valka? I can't know how to pronounce her name. Valka, that's it. We're introduced to Valka. It starts to fit, so maybe that was just, the name Cate Blanchett, so apparently she's a fan of the first film, and her kids. What else is there? Yeah, there's a lot. I'm definitely going to do a sequel review, but this gets a nice 10 out of 10. This is a fantastic film. This had me at the edge of my seat. It had me crying up. It had... so many twists and turns that, and so many just high points that I sit there going, because Dean DuBlois said, Dean DuBlois, D-E-B-L-O-I-S, said, he will do a third film, but I'm sitting there going, what else can you do? he elevated this film so high. I don't know. And it is very much a contained film. It has a beginning, middle, and end. So he said he will direct it and write it. So, and the main cast will return. Some unexpected twist. And quick question, but what is it with this? What is it with How to Train Your Dragon and severed limb and like amputations? Really, you know, Toothless has one. Gobber has them all over his body. Hiccup has his leg. And a few other things. It just that's what I like about this series, is that it takes a lot of risks that you wouldn't expect an animated film ever to take, especially, well, a DreamWorks film. I mean, Pixar, I wouldn't think goes this far. Well, sometimes, but this film goes farther than I'd say Pixar has in years. I'd say it's a shining example of how not only to do a sequel, but a great animated film. And a great animated sequel, I guess. But yeah, I hope this film does very well. It'll definitely do well, but as it stands, this is my favorite film of the summer. I know we're only into June 13th, but this is my favorite film of the summer. So, if you saw the film, what did you think? Because this film is beautiful. Yeah, I never thought I'd use that word, but yeah, this film is a work of art. And it might just be one of my new favorite films. Yeah, I don't want to put down the first one because the first film is really, really good as well. But yeah, if I had to pick one, I would say this is the better film. But this is going to enjoy a nice spot in my favorite films, probably right next to the first film. Kind of like how some people say, you know, Indiana Jones series is one of their favorite films, kind of like that. So yeah. Now that third film, oof, I don't know. You better have something up his sleeve. Villain's pretty cool. The dragons, we learned Toothless has a little more personality. And I'll just sort of leave off with one last thing. Is Toothless Godzilla in disguise? Because he does something at the end of the film. I was sitting there going like, Godzilla does that. Anyone who's seen the film will know. So yeah, that is How to Train Your Dragon 2. It is my favorite film of this summer and my favorite film of this year. Alright, see you later.